Hello, everyone, and welcome to CleanMedKE, where we keep clinical medicine and surgery clear, structured, and clinical. Today, we are diving into the fundamental concepts of homeostasis and biological feedback mechanisms. Note that this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. The prime directive of our bodies is to maintain an internal balance known as homeostasis. This is the process of keeping a stable internal environment, or a target set point, even when external conditions are constantly fluctuating. As humans, we are endotherms, meaning we are warm-blooded. While this comes with a high energy cost because of internal metabolic regulation, it allows us to remain active in various environments, unlike ectotherms, like reptiles, that rely entirely on the external environment for their body temperature. To maintain this balance, the body uses what we call a biological circuit, consisting of 5 key steps. It starts with a stimulus, which is a change in a variable like your temperature or blood glucose. This change is detected by a sensor or receptor, which sends an afferent signal to a control center. The control center processes the data, makes a decision, and sends an efferent signal to an effector, the specific organ or tissue that needs to act. Finally, the response is the clinical outcome that addresses that initial stimulus to bring the system back to balance. The primary tool the body uses for homeostasis is negative feedback. In this mechanism, the body works to counteract the stimulus. Essentially, as the product of a process increases, the rate of that process decreases. It's a counter-response designed to prevent anything from accumulating to dangerous levels, with the ultimate goal of returning the body to its target set point and maintaining physiological stability. A classic clinical example of negative feedback is thermoregulation. If the stimulus is cold, sensors send an afferent signal to the hypothalamus, which then sends an efferent signal to effectors to trigger shivering, to generate heat, and vasoconstriction to reduce heat loss. Conversely, if you are too hot, the hypothalamus triggers sweating for evaporative cooling and vasodilation to radiate heat away. Both paths work to restore your set point temperature. Another vital negative feedback loop is blood glucose regulation. When blood sugar is high, pancreatic beta cells act as the sensor and control center, releasing insulin to tell cells to absorb glucose and the liver to store it as glycogen. If blood sugar is low, pancreatic alpha cells release glucagon, signaling the liver to break down stored glycogen to raise blood sugar back to normal. Now, positive feedback is the opposite. It amplifies the stimulus. Instead of returning the body to a set point, this mechanism pushes the body away from balance to rapidly drive a process toward a definitive, time-limited endpoint. Because it accelerates a process continuously, it is not used for everyday maintenance, but for very specific, intense biological events. We see positive feedback in 3 major biological areas: childbirth, lactation, and blood clotting. In childbirth, cervical stretching, the stimulus, triggers the release of oxytocin, which causes uterine contractions. This leads to more stretching and more oxytocin until the baby is born, the endpoint. Similarly, in hemostasis, clotting, adhering platelets release chemicals to attract even more platelets until a plug is formed to stop bleeding. To summarize the difference, negative feedback is your everyday regulator that maintains balance and pulls the body back to a set point, such as with blood pressure or temperature. Positive feedback is a rare, event-driven catalyst that pushes the body away from a set point to achieve a rapid endpoint, like labor contractions or milk ejection. Clinical disease often occurs when these biological circuits break. If a feedback loop fails, meaning the control center can't produce a signal or the effectors can't recognize it, the body loses its ability to regulate itself. A prime clinical example is diabetes mellitus, where the glucose negative feedback loop breaks, allowing sugar to accumulate to toxic levels in the blood. We can see this circuit failure in 2 ways. In type 1 diabetes, it's a control center failure. The immune system destroys pancreatic beta cells, resulting in an absolute lack of insulin. In type 2 diabetes, it is often an effector failure. Chronic high glucose leads to receptor downregulation, meaning the tissue cells stop listening or responding to the insulin signal. When these loops fail, it creates a pathological cascade. Because glucose cannot enter the cells for energy, the body enters a state of cellular starvation and fatigue. Meanwhile, the excess sugar in the bloodstream causes vascular damage, leading to elevated blood pressure, nausea, and, in severe cases, diabetic coma or death. Modern medicine aims to artificially restore the broken loop. For type 1, we replace the missing signal with exogenous insulin injections. For type 2, the focus is often on reducing the stimulus. By using dietary management and exercise to lower glucose spikes, we reduce the burden on the insulin receptors, helping the circuit function more effectively. In summary, remember that life is governed by negative feedback for stability, while positive feedback acts as a catalyst for critical endpoints. Ultimately, medicine is the art of artificial homeostasis, bridging the gap when our natural biological circuits fail. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful for your studies or practice, please like, share, and subscribe to CleanMedKE for more in-depth clinical education. See you in the next video.